This is Black Mental Health Matters. I'm Dr. Carrie Ann Williams. I'm a psychiatrist practicing in Massachusetts, and this is a podcast about everything related to mental wellness in the Black community and beyond. Today's episode is a mini episode, and it's about the concept of resilience. We often use the word resilience to describe a situation where a person is able to bounce back after hardship. Now, often in the Black community, we are described as resilient after having to survive both historical and current hardships. The list is long, but we've survived slavery, overt and covert racism, institutional oppression, prejudices, systemic effects, including substance abuse, poverty, etc. Now, individuals in the Black community are often described as resilient because they're perceived as rising above their circumstances, rising out of poverty, being the first in their family to do such and representing their culture in minoritized spaces. The American Psychological Association defines resilience as the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands, kind of a long definition. BIPOC communities are praised for collective resilience. But today I want to address three ways that the concept of resilience can be a double edged sword. The first thing that I'll review today in this mini episode is that resilience is often equated with toughness. Therefore, the perception becomes that BIPOC communities are tough. And again, we have come through many things, and the idea of being tough has a very positive sound to it. But what if you're in the hospital in need of pain medication, and the perception of your clinical team is that your pain tolerance is higher than other races? Studies have shown that Black patients are perceived as having a higher tolerance for pain, even though there's no actual biological basis for that. What if being perceived as tough leads to different standards for quality of services you receive or the amount of help that you get? What if it leads to different diagnoses by mental health providers who are maybe unconsciously blind to certain kinds of vulnerabilities in Black children and adults? Autism and eating disorders frequently go unnoticed in Black children and teens. Providers wait longer to give these diagnoses, leading to greater morbidity. They're just not perceived as being prone to these vulnerabilities, at least not to the same degree as other races. So, what happens when being perceived as tough and resilient works against you? Number two, resilience is often mistaken as healing. The ability to adapt and adjust is not the same as healing. Success by certain members of the BIPOC community is sometimes perceived as recovery of the entire community from their history of hardships. And you've heard it before. Sometimes people use examples of celebrities, or maybe they use examples of people that they know in their own lives, but they use them as examples that Black people are doing well now and they need to move on from the past. But adapting and adjusting is not the same thing as healing. What we know in psychology is that some adaptations that help us to survive don't necessarily help us to thrive. Some adjustments that we make to survive are stressful to our minds and our bodies. There is a price to resilience. Sometimes it's physical health concerns, mental health concerns, substance use, for example. Resilience is a means and not an end. So that leads me to point number three in this mini episode, which is that resilience often collects a toll. Just like some highways and motorways, resilience collects a toll for passage. Experiencing hardship and coming through it doesn't always make us stronger. survival is not the same thing as strength. Survival has known biological effects. And for us in the BIPOC community, we have seen how resilience has led to increased health concerns, unspoken mental health concerns, and watering down our cultural identities. So, to sum up, resilience is applauded because it is better than the alternative. And it's good to survive hardship and challenges. However, the concept of resilience also has hidden consequences and costs. Some people do come out of life challenges with remarkable grace and joy and wisdom. And many of us in the BIPOC community are like that. And we must be resilient. We must survive. But how can we get beyond this? We bounce back, but what's the next step? And that's the question I'm going to leave you with, which is also the question in the title of this podcast. So you're resilient. What's next? So what do you guys think about the concept of resilience? Drop a note on any of my social media pages. And if you enjoy listening to my podcast, don't forget to leave a review. And I'll talk with you again next week. Take care.